Watermelon Party. Written by Dorothy Cutforth Young. Illustrations by Moran Reuter. Dorothy and Ori were a very sweet older married couple who had no children of their own. They lived in a lovely house and were good and kind. Everyone in their small town knew and loved them, and they loved everyone in their small town, especially the children. Their house was right across the street from the elementary school. Sometimes the children would walk to Dorothy and Ori's house on their way to school. The children would often wave at them. This made Dorothy and Ori smile. Dorothy and Ori enjoyed watching the children at recess. Sometimes the children were noisy, but that was fine with them. When she was younger, Dorothy had been an elementary school teacher. One day after school was out for summer, Dorothy said to Ori, "I have an idea. Why don't we do something fun for the children in our small town? I have missed seeing them so much." Ori agreed with Dorothy, but neither of them could think of what to do. They had chores to do, so they got busy. Later they got in the car and went to the grocery store to buy food and other items. "Hello, Dorothy and Ori," said the man who owned the grocery store. After all, everyone knew and loved Dorothy and Ori. "We just got in an order of fine fruits for the summer." "I love fruit," said Ori. They went and looked at the different fruits. There were apples, bananas, grapes, strawberries, peaches, and watermelon. "Pick out what you want," said Dorothy to Ori. "I will get our other groceries." So Ori picked out some bananas, apples, and watermelon to take home. That night, Dorothy and Ori fixed and ate supper together. For dessert, they both had watermelon. "This is so good," said Dorothy. "It is more than good," said Ori. "It is the finest watermelon I've ever eaten. I think I will buy more tomorrow." Dorothy just laughed. The next day, Dorothy was very busy. She played the piano at church every Sunday, and she taught piano lessons to some of the children in the neighborhood. Ori did not have anything to do, so he got in the car and went back to the grocery store. The store owner again greeted Ori. "That watermelon I bought here yesterday was so delicious," said Ori. "Do you still have some? I would like to buy more." "Oh yes, the delivery truck was just here," said the owner. Ori looked toward the fruit section. There were at least 20 or more watermelons piled into a big cardboard box. Ori picked up one watermelon, then another. He began to think how good that watermelon was that he had last night. Before he left the store, he had purchased 10 watermelons. When he got home, Dorothy met him at the door. She could not believe her eyes when she saw the 10 watermelons. "Why did you buy 10 watermelons? We can never eat that much. And you can't make watermelon pie or ice cream or cake." "Well, how about a watermelon peanut butter sandwich?" Ori kidded her. Dorothy did not laugh. "I don't know why I bought 10 watermelons," said Ori. "All I could think about was how good it tasted last night. I know it is silly, but I will think of something to do with all this watermelon. I promise." "You had better think of something, or you will be having watermelon for supper for 2 weeks," Dorothy commented, remembering that Ori had done things like this before. Later, while lying in bed that night, Ori began to think how he could get rid of all that watermelon. If he didn't, Dorothy would not be happy. There wasn't room in the refrigerator for all that watermelon. Would the store let him bring it back? The next morning, Dorothy was grumpy. Ori knew why. Too many watermelons. But Ori was cheerful. "I know what we are going to do with the watermelons," he said. "We are going to have a watermelon party." "A watermelon party?" exclaimed Dorothy. "I have never heard of such a thing." "Me neither," said Ori, "until I dreamed I was at a party last night, and all they served to eat was watermelon." Dorothy rolled her eyes and laughed at him. "We can invite all the children in town to a watermelon party," explained Ori. "That way, we will get to see the children this summer." Dorothy agreed that it was a great idea. She had to admit that Ori had thought of a clever solution. Ori got busy and made a big sign for their yard. "Free watermelon!" "Friday afternoon, watermelon party here," said the sign. "All children welcome." Friday was only 2 days away, so they did not have too long to wait. Dorothy called all of her piano students and told them about the watermelon party and asked them to spread the news. Parents driving by saw the sign and smiled. All of the parents in town knew Dorothy and Ori. They knew their children were safe going to their home. How fun and kind, thought the parents. It was just like Dorothy and Ori to do something like this. Right after lunch on Friday, Dorothy and Ori got busy cutting the watermelon into triangles that were easy to eat. And sure enough, kids started showing up within the hour. Soon, the yard was filled with happy children eating watermelon, and happy children spitting watermelon seeds and having contests as to who would spit the seeds the farthest. There were also contests to see how many pieces of watermelon that could be eaten. A few children looked awfully full. A boy and girl used an uncut watermelon for a football as the sidelines chanted loudly, "Watermelon seeds, watermelon rinds, we like watermelon all the time." As the football sailed over the Mongolia tree, narrowly missing a window, Ori quickly distracted that group with a story about the biggest watermelon he had ever seen. Dorothy did not seem to believe the story as much as the kids did. Some of the older children had contests to see how far watermelon rinds could be thrown. Ori thought it was very funny. After a while, Dorothy had to stop that contest to save her flower beds. But it was a fun afternoon for all. Dorothy and Ori's hearts were full of joy to see the children having such a good time. "We'll do it again next year," said Dorothy and Ori. "It will be our official annual watermelon party." "Hooray!" yelled the children. Some of the children hugged Dorothy and Ori as they left. They were sticky, but Dorothy and Ori didn't mind. "Be careful going home," said Ori. "And don't forget to wash up," reminded Dorothy, thinking of the parents. The yard was so quiet after the children left, and there was cleaning up to do. Dorothy had counted 26 boys and girls who had come for watermelon. "I hope the children know how much we love them," Ori said. "I'm sure they do," replied Dorothy, already missing them. "We still have some watermelon left," said Dorothy. "Good," replied Ori. "You never know when you might need it." Dorothy rolled her eyes again at him. She wondered if her husband had another idea she didn't know about. She decided not to ask. Then Ori sat down to eat another slice of watermelon. But before he did, he gave Dorothy a big sticky watermelon kiss.